wanted to point out how incredible it is to me how this team went from a 2-4 COVID year where they didn't play the Ohio State game that year, and we probably would have got run right off the field if we did. And Harbaugh may not have even survived that season, especially if we would have taken an Ohio State beatdown. To go from 2-4 to 40-3 the last 3 years is just amazing to me. And the other thing is, just to point out, is that you realize we won a national championship with only 2 5-star athletes on the field. That is completely unprecedented when you look at the previous champions and all of the 5 stars they've rolled out on that field, from Clemson to Georgia, Alabama, LSU. It's just amazing how much this team has done with the level of recruiting that they have achieved.
Well, not everything's based on stars, but they've done a heck of a job, without a doubt.
I think something that we can talk about here a little bit is the formula of getting kids to stay, and is Michigan's formula sustainable? I don't know if it is. It's way too early. But what they appear to have done, and they don't recruit at the level that Georgia does and the level that even Ohio State does, but they recruit well, but they're not in the Alabama category. But is it using NIL money to keep your 3- and 4-star guys that have developed? And is Michigan winning with 22 and 23-year-olds or 21 and 22-year-olds, 3 stars and 4 stars that have developed that are beating your 4-star and 5-star 18 and 19-year-olds? If that's the case, it's really encouraging for everybody not named Alabama and Ohio State that maybe this is another way to get it done. And to an extent, and there's going to be very few people, this kind of happens in college hockey, where some of these other programs, the Quinnipiacs of the world, are getting kids that stay forever, while some of the big boys are getting guys that are one and done and recruiting at an elite level, but their 18-year-olds are losing to 22 and 23-year-olds when you get to the postseason.
In a way, it's like college basketball with some of the blue bloods, and well, how is it that Kentucky doesn't win every year? Well, because there might be recruiting fantastically, but these guys are 18-year-olds. But the other thing Michigan has done extraordinarily well over the last couple of years that kind of goes under the radar, but it's also a plan for teams that want to compete at a high level, is that when they go to the portal, they're not looking for depth guys in the portal. They're looking for starters. And when they add a guy, it's an improvement over what they had. And they've done that to the offensive line the last couple of years. They've done that with other positions. Having Varner as an extra tight end, I mean, when you lose Eric All but you're adding this kid, that helps. And it's a model that other teams are going to look at. It's great. Hey, we added 15 guys in the portal. Oh, what'd you get? And 8 of them are 4 stars. Well, if they're 4-star or 5-star players from programs where those guys couldn't see the field, what are you really getting? But if you get a guy who wants to transfer from, say, Virginia, but they were a starter at Virginia and they were first team all ACC as an offensive lineman, and you add that to your team, that's an add. Adding a 5-star defensive lineman from Texas A&M who was disappointing doesn't mean anything. So they played the portal game well.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of contributions. It's like they used it as free agency when they figured out after recruiting is done. All right, where are we still coming up with shortcomings? But it's an interesting development. The game is changing rapidly. I don't know what the future holds and what the right way to do it is. And Michigan, using NIL money not to get the recruits but to keep the kids on the roster seems worked this year. And like I said, it's too early to know if this is the formula, but is it sustainable? More of your phone calls and feedback coming up. Dan Campbell, what he told the morning show in the noon hour. It's Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket.